Next we have Pam Kathan.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Pam Kathan. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members, for letting me speak against HB177. I'm probably one of the few lifelong family members in the town of Dalton. My family has lived here for decades. It used to be a quiet and pleasant town, and it is a small town. It's poor and made up mostly of elderly and low income, but Dalton has been targeted. Citizens are being harassed, satirized, and intimidated over the possibility of a landfill coming to town. Some don't dare to speak their minds for fear of consequences suffered by the anti-landfill faction. We've seen their violence and intimidation firsthand. The number of Dalton residents who could benefit from hosting a landfill are small compared to the large number of non-residents who are only too glad to declare they are the majority and they know what is best. Best for who? Not for Dalton. This town has become so divided since the takeover of the anti-landfill factions. Neighbors you've known forever are not speaking to each other. Why, even our select board has members of the anti-landfill faction on it. How fair is that to the residents of Dalton? Defeated before we even start. The landfill would give Dalton a wonderful tax base, an opportunity to provide services to our elderly, an opportunity to get our police department back because we have a lot of drug activity here. Grows and thrives here. Why? Because Dalton is poor. It gets attracted by poor towns. Having local law enforcement in this town, again, would aid the already stretched state police. But how do we do that? By hosting a landfill. Our EMS, fire, and highway departments could also benefit by hosting a landfill. While I have no complaints on their services now, they do the best they can with what they have. But if funded by hosting a landfill, they could do so much more. Another benefit of landfill hosting would be the opportunity to create high-quality internet service. This would provide all of the rural spots in our towns internet service for those who work online, school online, attend public meetings online, or those that just enjoy being online. We could also become educated firsthand on recycling and repurposing. That is what we want, right? I've been to the Casella proposed site, and I think it's going to be great. And I've also been to the Bethlehem site, and it doesn't smell. It's not dirty. A lot of those people that are opposing the landfill have not even been there to find out for themselves. So for the good of the future, we should defeat HB177. I'm angered at the elite few in Dalton that accuse us of not wanting to pay our taxes, and that is the reason we want a landfill. We want to pay our taxes, but we have a hard time paying them. They don't have that problem. They are out of touch with the real Dalton lifestyle. The school and county taxes are going up. I wonder how the select board will handle that in a poor town with no money. Raise our taxes? So in closing, I say don't banish the landfills. They're the ones trying to take care of the trash that everyone generates. They are the ones developing new ways to recycle and repurpose the trash. It's their job, turning trash into treasure, as one might say. The anti-landfill group should be going after the packaging developers and product manufacturers. Then there would be less of a need for landfills. Landfills provide a solution to today's throwaway society, and that society will not be changing anytime soon. And as far as Forest Lake being pristine, the Forest Lake members know it is not. What about the boat, gasoline and oil issues, and other issues that plague that?
Yeah, you're nearly 4 minutes.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much.
Will you take some questions?
Sure.
Senator Bouldin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ms. Kathan, for taking my question. I'm just looking for clarification on one thing. I thought I heard you say there was violence or something. Can you,
Yes.
know that?
There's harassment and some violent acts.
Follow-up? Thank you for taking my follow-up. Could you expand a little bit on the violent acts? Sounds wrong.
When we were having our town meeting for the zoning, people were being harassed and vehicles shaken by opposition to the landfill.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Representative Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Kathan, for taking my question. I'm interested to know, do you have an idea how much income your town would benefit from with this landfill coming to your town? Would it be in terms of increased tax money to the facility, or other means of income? Can you elaborate on that?
Sure can, thank you. Yes, it would be increased tax money, make us a nice tax base. We could get services in the town that may never have been there. We have a lot of seniors living there. I'm not so sure we have any services for them. Our EMS and highway department and fire department, like I said, they do great with what they have, but they could do a whole lot more with extra funding. I don't see this as a loss. If anything, I think that Forest Lake would be much better handled with extra extra funding to create a committee to take care of that lake and make sure it does not get polluted.
Thank you. Any additional questions from the board? Not seeing any. We thank you for coming in and speaking
Thank
to
you.
us.
Opportunity.
Okay, next I have Robin Pelotti. Robin. You should
Welcome,
get-
Robin.
Hi, thank you. My name is Robin Pilot. I own land in Dalton, and we're moving there in 2 weeks. And I oppose this bill. I've been to the Bethlehem site of Castello's, and I haven't seen any flying birds or all the trash. We had brought garbage there, and because my husband's in construction, and we didn't see or smell all these things that everybody says that you're supposed to see. And I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
That's all right. We're all nervous here.
And I've also made phone calls because I like to do my research on something before I speak about it. I've made phone calls to the town's transfer stations and the garbage haulers around the area. And I've asked them questions having to do with what's going to happen when Bethlehem closes down. And a lot of them say the prices are going to go sky high, and they're not even sure if they're going to be able to stay in business because nobody can afford to pay, an outrageous amount of money to get their garbage hauled down to, say, Turnkey, because Carberry is pretty much going to be taken up with all the people that they already have garbage going to. And as far as the heavy traffic that's going to be going to the new one in Dalton, there's always been traffic here. We have truck traffic, we have pickups, we have all kinds of traffic. We have, it's just a scare tactic. There's not going to be that many trucks going to that site if it's there, because they're counting pickups that bring garbage there. They're counting dump trucks. They're not all tractor trailers. And also the state park itself, it gets shut down a couple of times a year due to E. coli, and it was closed down back in the 90s. Last year is the first year that the town people in Dalton went and cleaned up to open up the park.
I'm sorry
That's why-
to interrupt. Senator Avard, that's 2.5 minutes.
Robin, you got 30 seconds for a closing statement.
Okay, it's just the park has an issue with the park itself. The water is not clean and nobody uses it to drink out of and all that. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous.
That's okay. That's all right. No, just
I want to just stress the point that it's not, the bill is not right. I really oppose it, and there's so many other people in Dalton that would be speaking out more if they weren't afraid of being bullied and harassed, which we're getting a lot of.
Robin, how are you getting bullied?
Well, you've already heard from one of the gentlemen. If we speak out, we get called skulls, we get called all kinds of names, and it's just, there's a lot of elderly people, and they're just even afraid to go to the town building because our selectmen don't even listen to us. It's like you're afraid to even voice an opinion that isn't for, say, Forest Lake in our town. And Forest Lake has never been as famous as what it has been since this bill. It's like we don't have the tourism going to that lake. It's less than 1,000 acres. It's not a pristine water. It's nothing like what they want you to believe. And I've lived in Dalton my whole life, and I know what I'm talking about. Pristine means you can drink it. And I've offered to pour a pitcher of water to these people and asked them if they would drink it. None of them will. And I don't blame them. I won't either. But it's like, and Casella's is going to be well over 200 feet away from that lake. It's like over 1,000 feet and then some. And last I knew, water doesn't flow uphill. And Dalton is hurting. It's very low income. The only ones that are really having a gripe about it are the ones that have camps on the lake. And half of them are not full-time people there. They're part-timers that are there for the summer. And it's like, I mean, I could keep going on here now that I'm on a roll. I'm feeling more comfortable. But there's issues, and I'm talking to DES guy now about some of the concerns having to do with that lake. Just to get, I'd love to have it pristine. I'd love to have it safe for children to go swimming in it. But when you take dead beavers off from a beach that they bury instead of having them tested, there's a big issue. Why did those beavers die? You know, why is there E. coli all the time? Why are all these issues coming up, and why do we have to cover them up? It's like, it really needs, you really need to come and check it out, I guess is what I'm saying. Check out the whole situation so you actually see the lake we're talking about that you're putting a bill on.
Robin, we really appreciate your testimony, and I'm going to ask the committee: are there any questions that you'd like to ask Robin? Well, we don't approve of any bullying, and that's intolerable, actually. So I hope this will end. But we really do appreciate your testimony. Thank you for coming. And
thank you for hearing me. Bye.
You're very welcome.
Okay, next I have Pamela Kathan. Pam, you should be able to, there you go.
Hi.
Welcome, Pam.
Hi. Thank you all for giving me the chance to let you hear my testimony today. I have lived in Dalton for 20 years. My family's been there for generations, but not as seasonal visitors. I feel that Dalton, the true residents, should decide what is best for them, not the Forest Lake faction of activists who join with other activist groups like NCAC and CLF to push their agenda. Forest Lake would have become a campground years ago if there was an interest to do so. But now we must develop a campground because this supposedly will make money for Dalton, and it's a great excuse for not getting the landfill in. Why didn't Forest Lakers develop a campground a long time ago? They've been seasonably here on and off for years. This is just like enacting emergency zoning after never having zoning in Dalton. Sounds like plans specifically to keep the landfill out. What is best for Dalton is a financial boost that we would receive from this landfill. Yes, it would provide tax relief to many, but we should not be harassed and embarrassed in wanting to have some tax relief. But we are being harassed. We get all kinds of harassment from these groups, from videos to stalking and ridiculing. Outsiders making decisions for us because they feel the average resident is an idiot, incapable of making proper decisions for their town. They are a group of well-to-do elitists, no better than pedigreed dogs, and I do love dogs, trying to push their agendas. The rest of us are not. We're a proud group of local people in a small town. I ask you to oppose HB177 to hear the little guy who needs your help. We are not nationwide. We are not rich. We are just local Dalton residents who want to survive. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Pam, for speaking up and for not being afraid of being bullied. Do you have examples of the harassments and videos and stalking available to share with the committee if you had the ability?
I could send you a lot of stuff that's on YouTube right now.
Please do.
Okay, and where would you like me to direct that?
Griffin, where would we send that?
I will follow up with her by email.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pam. We appreciate it.